When a woman realizes she's lost you, something inside her shifts and not in the way most men think. See, she won't always show it right away. You might even think she doesn't care. But trust me, when a woman truly feels that she's lost a man who once loved her, respected her, and made her feel chosen, that hits her differently. It's not just about losing attention, it's about losing emotional power. And when that power is gone, her behavior changes in ways that are confusing if you don't understand what's really going on underneath. This is where most men get caught off guard. You think she's moved on because she's acting distant, posting like she's living her best life, or pretending she's fine. But what you don't see is that those reactions are emotional armor. A woman who feels she's lost you goes through a quiet panic first. She may not cry in front of you. She might even double down on acting like she's happy, but it's all part of trying to protect her ego from the reality that she no longer has a hold on you. What you need to understand is that women measure emotional security differently than men do. A woman's sense of control in a relationship often comes from how deeply she feels she affects you. So when that's gone, when you no longer respond, when you stop chasing, when your energy shifts, she feels it immediately. That's when her behavior becomes unpredictable, reactive, or even desperate in subtle ways. I end this video. I'm going to walk you through how a woman actually acts when she knows she's lost you. I'll break down the real emotional process she goes through, what she shows, what she hides, and what she secretly feels when she realizes you're slipping away for good. Because once you understand this, you will never misread a woman's silence, distance, or sudden change again. 1. She acts cold to hide, she acts cold to hide the chaos. Inside the chaos inside. When a woman knows she's lost you, her first reaction is rarely calm acceptance. It's chaos, but not the kind you will see. On the surface, she'll act cold, distant, maybe even indifferent. She'll talk to you with a straight face, say things like, "I'm fine," or "I've moved on." And her energy will suddenly feel colder than ice. But underneath that surface, she's fighting a storm of emotions. She doesn't want anyone, especially you, to see. Women hate the feeling of emotional exposure. Losing a man who once cared deeply, who once gave her that sense of importance, makes her feel powerless. So instead of showing sadness, she flips it. She shuts down. Acting cold becomes her defense mechanism. It's how she protects her pride while she tries to process the fact that she no longer has the same influence over you. And here's what most men misunderstand. That coldness doesn't mean she's moved on. It means she's hurting. But she can't allow herself to show that hurt because in her mind that would confirm she lost the game. So she'll act like she's detached, like she doesn't care what you do or who you're with. You might even see her talking to new guys or being overly active on social media, but that's all surface level distraction. When a woman is truly over you, her emotions flatten out. She stops reacting altogether. But when she's cold, sharp, and defensive, it's not indifference. It's pain disguised as control. She wants to appear unaffected because deep down, she knows you noticing her pain would give you the upper hand again. Dot. If you've ever seen a woman who suddenly turns emotionally distant after a breakup, remember, she's not as in control as she seems. That coldness is her armor. She's trying to convince herself she's fine while every part of her is screaming inside. Why does this hurt so much? The silence, the short replies, the forced confidence. That's her emotional wall. And the colder she acts, the more you can be sure she's still deeply affected by the fact that she's lost you. 2, she tries to make you jealous, but it's really a cry for validation. She tries to make you jealous, but it's really a cry for validation when a woman feels she's lost you. One of her most common instincts is to try to trigger your attention, and jealousy is her favorite tool. It's not about cruelty, it's about reassurance. Deep down, she's thinking, if I can still make him react, then I still matter. That's why you'll suddenly see her dressing differently, posting things she never used to post, or surrounding herself with male attention she doesn't even care about. Most men see this and think she's trying to replace me. But that's not what's happening emotionally. She's not trying to replace you. She's trying to prove to herself that she can. There's a big difference. Her ego needs to feel that she still has options, that she still has power, that she's not the one who lost. Because when a woman feels replaced or forgotten, it bruises her pride in a way that cuts deep. That's why she'll use subtle tactics, maybe a few flirty photos online, maybe mentioning another man just enough to see if it gets a reaction. She doesn't need you to confess jealousy out loud. She's just watching for the slightest change in your tone, your attention, your energy. The moment she senses you still care, she feels safe again, even if just for a second. But when you don't respond, when your energy doesn't change, that's when the game backfires on her. Because silence to a woman who's seeking validation feels unbearable. It confirms the thing she's afraid of most, that she no longer has control over how you feel. And that realization stings more than rejection itself. So, when you see her trying to make you jealous, don't feed into it. Recognize it for what it is, not confidence, but confusion. She's trying to soothe her insecurity, to test if she still has space in your world. And ironically, the more she tries to make you react, the more obvious it becomes that she's not over you. She's just desperate to feel like she still matters. 3. Her confidence. Her confidence suddenly feels forced when a woman knows she's lost you. One of the first things to fade is her natural sense of confidence. But instead of letting that show, she often goes into overcompensation mode. She starts performing confidence. On the outside, she might look strong, independent, unbothered. She might say things like, "I'm focusing on myself," or "I'm happier now." But deep down, her energy gives her away. There's a difference between a woman who's genuinely confident and one who's trying to convince herself that she is dot. You'll notice it in her tone, her timing, her need for an audience. Real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need validation. But when a woman is faking it after losing you, she wants to be seen. She needs you and others to notice how fine she is. That's why she posts more selfies, suddenly becomes busy all the time, or throws herself into social events. It's not because she's fully healed. It's because she's trying to silence the part of her that feels small and rejected. When she had you, she didn't realize how much her sense of worth was tied to your attention. But once you pulled away, once you stopped responding or chasing, she felt that emotional drop. That's when she starts trying to rebuild her self-image through external validation. But the thing is, validation doesn't fill emotional emptiness. It only hides it temporarily. And this is something a lot of men don't see. You think she's thriving when in reality she's fighting to keep herself together? She's smiling, but the glow is forced. She's active, but she's restless. Every little thing she does is meant to prove that she's still in control. But the truth is, she's not. She's playing a role she doesn't fully believe in yet. The truth is, when a woman loses a man she respected, the loss hits her sense of femininity, not in the way that makes her weak, but in a way that shakes her emotional rhythm. She's used to feeling desired, wanted, seen. Losing you feels like losing a mirror that once reflected her best self. So she starts trying to rebuild that image from the outside in. 4, she starts remembering the version of you. She took for granted the version of you she took for granted. When a woman realizes she's lost you, her memory becomes selective. Suddenly, the arguments fade, the flaws blur. And what stands out are the good moments. The way you used to look at her, the sound of your voice when you cared, the calm she used to feel when you were around. This is when nostalgia starts to hit her hard. And it's not because she suddenly discovered your worth. It's because the emotional comfort she once had with you is gone, and her mind is trying to recreate it. Women replay emotional experiences differently than men do. When she feels that loss, her brain doesn't focus on logic. It focuses on feelings. So even if she was the one who left, even if she swore she was done, she'll start remembering the parts of you that made her feel safe, loved, and desired. The moments she once overlooked suddenly feel rare, and that realization hits her at quiet times. Maybe when she's alone, scrolling through old photos, or hearing a song that reminds her of you. This is the stage where a woman begins to soften internally, but she won't admit it. Her pride won't let her. Instead, she might bring up your name casually to mutual friends, or she might react to something you post online just to test the emotional temperature. She's trying to figure out if the door is still open, not necessarily because she's ready to walk through it, but because she wants to know she could if she wanted to. That's her way of feeling like she still has emotional access to you. What's interesting is that this remembering phase doesn't come from love alone. It often comes from regret mixed with ego. She's realizing that the man she once took for granted is no longer emotionally available. And that shift from being the center of your attention to just a memory in your life feels unbearable to her pride. This is why you should never chase a woman who left. When she starts remembering the version of you she lost, she needs that contrast, the before and after, to really feel what she gave up. The more you stay silent, the more that picture of you becomes idealized in her mind. Every calm response, every moment you don't react, feeds that image of the men she can no longer reach. 5. Every little, every little thing you do begins to haunt her thing you do begins to haunt her. There comes a moment after the silence sets in and your energy truly shifts when she starts to notice everything about you again, but this time from the outside, and that's when it starts to haunt her. Every little thing you do, how calm you seem, how focused you've become, how different your energy feels, begins to replay in her mind. What used to feel familiar now feels unreachable. That's when reality hits. You're no longer the one she can call or control emotionally. At first, she'll try to ignore it. She'll scroll past your posts, pretend she doesn't care who you're talking to, and convince herself she's fine. But inside, it's eating at her. She'll think about how your tone used to sound when you called her baby, or how your energy used to feel when you were around. And now when she sees that same energy focused elsewhere, on your goals, your peace, or maybe even someone new, it stings because in her mind that was supposed to be hers. It's funny how women process loss. When she had your attention, she may have undervalued it, but once it's gone, she becomes hyper aware of every little sign that you've moved on. Maybe you start dressing better, maybe you look happier, maybe you just seem lighter. Those things will quietly bother her more than you'll ever know. There's a moment that really shifts things for her, and it's not a dramatic one. It's usually small, like seeing you laugh in a photo or realizing you didn't view her story or hearing from someone that you seem genuinely happy. That's when the regret fully kicks in because it's no longer about losing your attention. It's about seeing that you no longer need her. And that's when her thoughts start looping. Late at night, she replays the things she said, the time she pushed you away, the moments you tried to make it work. Those small memories, the ones she used to dismiss, now come back one by one. And what makes it worse is that she can't fix it because you're no longer giving her the emotional access she once had. She'll keep it to herself. She won't reach out right away. But she'll think about you a lot. She'll feel it every time she sees your name or hears a song that reminds her of you. That's what happens when a woman knows she's lost a man who once truly cared. Every little thing he does after that becomes a reminder that she's no longer part of his world. And that realization quietly haunts her more than she'll ever admit. 6. She regrets letting her. She regrets letting her pride win. When the dust finally settles and all her distractions stop working, that's when her pride starts to feel heavy, because deep down she knows she pushed away something real. At the time, it felt like control. She told herself walking away made her strong, ignoring your effort, withholding affection, acting like she didn't care. It all gave her a temporary sense of power. But when she realizes she's truly lost you, that power turns into regret. Women often confuse emotional control with strength. When she was distant or dismissive, she thought she was protecting her heart. But what she didn't realize is that she was slowly destroying the connection that once made her feel alive. And when a woman finally loses a man who genuinely loved her, she starts to see how her pride worked against her. She'll think back to the moments when you tried to talk things through, when you were patient, open, and sincere, and realize she meant that with attitude or silence. At the time, she believed she was teaching you a lesson. Now she sees that all she did was teach you how to live without her. That's when the regret becomes real. Not because she lost control, but because she lost someone who was actually trying. This kind of regret hits women differently. It's not dramatic or loud. It's quiet. It creeps in slowly. It shows up when she hears your name or sees something that reminds her of you. It's the kind of regret that makes her question her choices. She'll ask herself, why did I let my ego ruin this? Or, why did I make him prove himself when he already cared? Those thoughts start to eat away at her sense of peace. The truth is, pride feels powerful in the moment, but it's lonely in the aftermath. Because once a woman realizes she's lost a man who was emotionally grounded, a man who knew his worth and stopped chasing, she sees the contrast clearly. Every other connection feels shallow compared to what she had with you. That's why some women circle back, not always because they want the relationship again, but because they want to undo the feeling of regret. They want to prove to themselves that they could still have you if they wanted. But deep down, they know that version of you, the one who tried, who cared, no longer exists for them. And that's the hardest part of losing a man who grows from the pain. Because while she was fighting to protect her pride, you were learning how to protect your peace. By the time she realizes what she lost, it's no longer about love or ego. It's about facing herself. And that's a kind of regret no woman ever forgets. 7, she comes back, but not for the reason. You think she comes back, but not for the reason you think when a woman finally circles back after losing you. Most men make the mistake of thinking she's returning because she wants the relationship again. But here's the truth most women won't say out loud. She often comes back not because she's ready to love you again, but because she's struggling to accept that you don't love her anymore. Dot. It's not always about genuine connection. It's about emotional control. She's testing the door. She wants to see if it's still open, if she still matters, if she can still affect you the way she used to. That's why her messages feel half-hearted. Her tone is uncertain and her energy seems both soft and defensive at the same time. She's not sure what she wants, but she knows she can't stand the feeling of being forgotten. This is the stage where your growth truly gets tested, because if you respond the way you used to, with excitement, with immediate attention, with eagerness, she'll feel her power again. The balance shifts and her curiosity fades, but if you stay calm, grounded, and emotionally detached, that's when the real truth comes out. Dot. A woman who truly regrets losing you won't just come back with words. She'll come back with humility. You'll notice it in her tone, her actions, her willingness to admit where she went wrong. But if she's just trying to reclaim her ego, everything she does will feel inconsistent. She might compliment you one moment and distance herself the next. She'll say she misses you, but not follow through. That's because her goal isn't to rebuild something real. It's to soothe her pride. This is why it's so important to stay aware. Because when a woman knows she's lost you, the pull to test your emotions is powerful. She wants to know if she still has influence. And when she sees that she doesn't, it changes how she sees you completely. You stop being the man she left and become the man she can't easily replace. When a woman knows conclusion she's lost you, it's not just about missing your presence, it's about facing herself. She's forced to look at how she acted, what she took for granted, and how her pride cost her something real. And that truth for most women is hard to sit with because deep down she realizes something that cuts deeper than heartbreak. You would have done anything for her once, and now you wouldn't do a thing. Dot. That's what makes your silence powerful. Not because it's revenge, but because it shows growth. It shows that you finally understood your worth without needing her to validate it. And that shift when a man stops needing to prove himself changes everything. You stop chasing closure, attention, or understanding. You start moving like a man who knows he gave enough. Dot. Here's the part most men never see. Women never truly forget the men they lost because of their own actions. You'll live in her memory, not as the one who begged, but as the one who walked away with dignity. And every time she meets someone new, she'll compare them to you. Not to what you did, but to how you made her feel when she still had your heart. Oh, if she ever comes back, remember this. You don't owe her the same version of you she walked away from. She had her chance. Now it's your turn to live with peace. Dot. If you've ever been through this, drop your story in the comments. I'll be reading them and I want to hear your truth.